Everybody, my Roller 31 back here for FSi DFS. If you are looking for the early slate on Saturday, just pause this video, go to our channel. I did a breakdown on that, and the early slate isn't too early today. It's like 2:15 Eastern Standard Time. It might be even a little bit later because the first game might be a little bit of weather issue, but this will be for the 7-game main 705 slate. The early slate was tough because there weren't really some great options for bats, and there's some decent options for pitchers, but here we've got pitching options and we have a lot of really good bats and good situations and not enough money to make everything happen. So I think, in the breakdown session towards the end of the video, I'll show you how some cheap guys to throw in to try to get whatever stack you want in, and we'll hopefully make it happen for you. So just go game by game quickly since we only have 7 games here. We have the Braves at the Rangers. We have Bryce Elder, Dane Dunning. Not too interested in either one of these pitchers. I think Dunning would be the only cheap pitcher I might consider today. He hasn't been absolutely horrible. I know this Braves offense has Acuna back and they're getting healthy, but they have been quiet at times. So I think Dunning's definitely risky. And I don't think you really need to pay down too much for pitching to try to be able to get some of these high price lineups. And so you have high price lineups. Holy cow. Atlanta now. Acuna 6K, Olsen 5-1, Riley 4-9, Ozuna 4-4 makes him cheap. AB's 5-3. Even the catcher Diarno, who was like really reasonably priced at like 2.8 a couple weeks ago, is up to like 4-4 now, or 4-6, or maybe even 4-8. Yeah, just crazy pricing on the Braves. So it's like they are in Coors Field or something against a really bad pitcher. So I think I like the stack tonight, but that's pretty pricey. And Texas, I think, is a decent cheaper option because they only have 2 4K bats, and then the rest of them are all like under 4K that you can make a stack with. So Red Sox take on the Orioles. You have Nathan Eovaldi and Spencer Watkins. I think Eovaldi's going to be chalk SP2 if people don't pay up for 2 pitchers tonight. I think he's the only one that's under 9K that is definitely has a floor against this Oriole team. Watkins not interested in. He's on my fade list. Red Sox, I think they're a top GPP stack. They just can't put it together. Like Trevor Story leading off at just like 5-1. It just seems way too expensive for me there. I'm not a huge fan of it. The Red Sox haven't been hitting great. Like maybe the lefties as one-offs there, but I think I'll stack them in GPP, but I don't really think I'm playing them in cash. Baltimore on the other side, they make a cheap stack, more of almost a contrarian stack, because if a lot of people are going to be on Valdi, but it's still not super interested. The total's not horrible at 3.69, but I think there's better places to go on the slate. Next up, we have the Cubs and the Brewers. We have Justin Steele and Eric Lauer. Lauer's been having a really good season to start out here. The Cubs do have some strikeouts in that lineup. Besides Suzuki and maybe Contreras every so often, one of them can hit it out of the park, but this lineup seems to be struggling. They are my least favorite stack on, like, I put them under leverage column just because I think some people might play Lauer, and they'll have super low ownership, but I don't think you really touch them tonight or any of the pieces there. Steele has just been a really bad pitcher also. Milwaukee makes a really good stack, but I just like so many other stacks like more than them at this case, and especially like the fact that there's some really good righty bats that are reasonably priced, and for Milwaukee to be able to go up against Steele, this lefty. So next game up, you have Philly and Mets. Really didn't touch this game yesterday. Mets had an amazing no-hitter. It took them like 5 pitchers to do it. I think, we see a low total against Walker's not as good as McGill, definitely. So I think Philly definitely could potentially put up some runs. Kyle Gibson is a decent pitcher also. So you got 2 pitchers, you've got 60 degrees, wind blowing in a little bit. Just kind of a neutral game here for like pitching for stacks. And really, definitely if I'm picking a pitcher, I'm taking Gibson over Walker. If I'm taking bats, I might actually like the Mets here, but again, like in the context of the slate, unless you're doing like 150 max or something, even a 20 max, I don't think like these teams even I play tonight. So I'm just kind of crossing this game off here. Like I said, it's not because I hate it, it's just because it's just vanilla. I just really don't see too much out of it. So the Yankees, Royals, again, we got wind blowing out, 14 miles per hour. It's going out to right field this time. We have Carlos Hernandez, one of the worst pitchers on the slate, up against the Yankees team that's starting to put together, starting to hit. Even Joey Gallo is starting to hit a little bit too. And you have Garrett Cole, probably the second favorite pitcher on the slate. It's going to come down to him or Kershaw. I mean, if you need to save a couple $100, I think I'd just go with Kershaw. He's got a matchup against Detroit. We'll get to that at the end of the breakdown here. Cole has been okay, but he just hasn't been the same pitcher since they started cracking down on like the sticky stuff last year. It's just, he's still an above average pitcher, but he's not as elite as he was. And maybe it's other things that have happened also. Maybe that's not the determining factor, but Kansas City has been abysmal too. And they lost, feel bad, Mondesi tore his ACL. I believe he's going to be out for long time there. So this lineup has just got even worse now. They have some sparks and some pieces in here, like Salvador Perez is decent. We think Witt's going to be a good player eventually. Merrifield is okay. Benintendi can have a day or two, but overall, it's just the collection of them. I think it's a really good game for Cole. So love the Yankees bats here. Like Cole as a pitcher. Kansas City, I think, to be one of the top leverage stacks. Just because they could potentially get to Cole more than I believe Detroit could get to Kershaw in that bullpen. And just definitely not touching Hernandez as a pitcher. Reds in Colorado, Coors Field. Like the Reds were chalk last night, they only put up 4 runs. And honestly, I don't think Chad Coors like that bad of a pitcher here in Coors. And we've seen like Gomber and like some of these Colorado pitchers actually do decent even in Coors. And sometimes the wind's really blown in 10 miles per hour. Could be even higher gusts. I see 66 degrees, so it's not super hot. So I think I love the Rockies side of it against Overton, who's 4K, don't know much about him, but I don't think he goes that deep. And Cincinnati bullpen is horrible also. And so I think, Chad Krul makes, if you're not playing Evaldi in a GPP as an SP2, I think he's definitely viable here against this Cincinnati team. And I think Cincinnati definitely makes a cheap stack. Like, I can't believe that Moustakas hitting like 6. He had like 14 DK points 2 games ago. It wasn't in Colorado. I had a couple hits there. He had at least like 1 hit last night for 4 points. So like, there's some floor here with a guy that's 2K minimum price in Coors Field with the splits advantage. It's just absolutely crazy. I think if you don't have a third baseman in your stack, you just need to lock him in there. Even if you're playing Krul as pitcher, I think he's definitely a great play there. Colorado, I think I do a 4-man stack here. I could never like the 5th one. I really just sometimes don't like. The pricing's pretty expensive. So even though I have as my second cash one, I think when I do the GPP build, that's where I have them there, because I need to like kind of rearrange pitching just positionally they don't fit into like the lineup where like the value plays are, and we'll see that in just a little bit. So then the Dodgers and Detroit. Dodgers have a 5.39 total. It's higher than Cincinnati at Coors. Only the Rockies with a 6.08 or higher. They're up against Brisket from Detroit and a Detroit bullpen. They should annihilate them. Detroit only has a 2.61 total against Kershaw. Not really interested in them. Kershaw actually looks like he has finally overcome the injury and is getting back to the form that he was. I know he's again at the twilight of his career, but things are starting to wind down. But it's good to see a strong resurgence at this point for him there. So, like I said, Kershaw's top pitcher. Cole would be second. Lauer, I really like, maybe Lauer over Cole, potentially with the matchup of the Cubs. Gibson, I'd put it 4th, but he's GPP only. Mets are a decent lineup, don't strike out much. Evaldi, I think it's going to be a chalk SP2. Cool. I think you can make a case for Cincinnati just being one of the worst hitting teams in baseball there. You could throw Luzardo in. Actually, that team might not even be on this slate. So, yeah, I must have been looking at it. So just ignore that there. Tashon Walker would be the last guy in the medium section, but I'm just like not really interested in him against the Phillies. Like I said, this really cheap range here with Dunning, Elder, Steele. None of them really stick out. Dunning potentially as a punt, but Elder and Steele have just been really bad. Single digit DK points, not interested there. And then Briscoe, Overton, Watkins, Hernandez, not interested in those. Top stack, the Dodgers, Colorado, but like I said, with the value plays that are out there, it's really hard to fit them in. We'll go over that in breakdown section. Yankees, Atlanta, even though Atlanta is very expensive, that's why there's the fourth cash stack there. Boston, GPP, just because, again, they've been inconsistent recently. I do like the matchup, but I just don't like the pricing on some of them. Milwaukee, I think it's great up against Steele there. They might be even better than Boston, but I think with just looking at them head to head, like Boston by a hair there. Then Mets and Philly, I just really don't know what to do with that game. Cheeks, Cincinnati, absolutely, but I think if you fade them, it's not going to hurt you. They are the worst hitting team in baseball, even though they're in Coors Field. I think that, you know, maybe a couple of them can get some hits, but they've just been struggling this year. Texas, I think, is interesting here. It's cheap. They've got two guys over 4K, but the rest of the team's under 4K and affordable. Same thing with Baltimore, but up against Evaldi, I don't think that's a great play there. Like I said, the leverage ones like Kansas City against Cole, if you think that he's going to have an off day there. Detroit, I don't think it's going to get to Kershaw, and the Cubs are just probably in the worst situation today. So let's look at some breakdowns to get you on with your day. Oh, first up, going Kershaw. I mean, if you want to go Cole, that's fine. Vivaldi, if you do that, it only leaves you 3,875. So it's hard to fit in some of these high stacks. So here's what you're going to do. Garcia or Baboom should be playing catcher. Both of them are 2K. Plug them in, punt catcher. Moustakis, 2K, third base. Plug them in there. Detmir from Atlanta. He filled in yesterday with Acuna getting the day off. Just I think they're bringing him back slowly. He has a couple home runs on the season. He's not bad. I think he's at 8.8 DK points per game. So at 2K, throwing him in outfield there. So with the Dodger stack here, you can get in Freeman, you can get in Muncy at second base, Turner at shortstop, and Betts. You can't get a fifth Dodger in there. You'd have to pay down on pitching to make that happen, but there's some nice outfield options in that range there that with the money left that you can work there. Colorado, like I said, doesn't work with this setup. I'll talk to about the GPP build. Yankees does work here also. Throw Rizzo there, throw LeMahieu there, Judge and Stanton, and then it gives you a decent amount left at shortstop to do that. Or, you know, if you want to pay up at one of these other positions, you could probably get Donaldson at third and then punt shortstop if you want to do it that way. That works too. Atlanta fits in here. You got Olsen, Aobi's, Acuna there. I don't think you can get Azuna in there. I don't think you have enough money left. You'd have to pay down for pitching. You can go Swanson, do the wraparound stack there, and that leaves you a decent amount. I think you might be able to get up to like Betts or a Yankee for like the final outfield spot if you do it that way when I was looking at builds earlier. So that's kind of what I'm doing for cash. I guess you can throw Boston here also. I would just punt first base, but you could go Story at second base. I'd boot Moustakis out there and put Devers at third, Xander at shortstop, and then you could, if you want to play Kiki, you can throw him in there. I definitely put Verdugo in there with the lefty righty matchup, and from there you can just see what's left, and if you have money left, you can upgrade. I'd probably upgrade over Kiki or maybe up a catcher or something like that. Then for the GPP build, like I said, I'm going Lauer and Kuro here. I'm going to take at least 3, if not 4, players from Colorado. Cron, McMahon, Grichuk are the ones that I like the most. Joe and Blackman, I'd have to debate on. Joe's very expensive. Blackman is not like a great hitter, I don't think. And then I think I'm going to plug in some Milwaukee pieces here. I think definitely like second base, I'd have to punt, but if I take like Adames and then at shortstop, and then I can fill in, I really like McCutchen with the righty matchup there. You can get up to Yelich, but I think I prefer to play like Renfroe there, and then maybe at second base, like I said, they really don't have like long lefty bats down the order. I'd probably maybe try to get another Colorado bat in there too. If Trejo Allen, he's decent in the lineup there. He's only about like 3.4. I think you might be able to squeeze him in there. And again, I'd be punting catcher here. Garcia, Big Boom, whoever, if you have money left, pay up to whoever you can get to there, but catcher's not a huge priority. So that finishes this slate. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm MegaRuler31. If you have any questions or comments, put them below. Reach out to me on Twitter at MegaRuler31. Check out the bio to this video for more information on FSi DFS. I appreciate you watching. Share the video, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.